G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags and welcome to Ground Forces. Today we're taking out the T-34E, the Soviet Era 2 battle rating 3.3 premium tank. Now the T-34E's gimmick as a premium tank in War Thunder is, it was a very limited production, almost prototype T-34 that was completely encased in spaced armour. Everywhere except the front of the hull and the front of the mantlet is a spaced armoured panel over the standard armour of the T-34. Lining up first shot, first kill. Now the gun is a standard 76mm F-34 cannon with 77 rounds that the T-34s all get at Era 2. It has the same 450 horsepower engine, the same 49km/h top speed, although it does take a little bit longer to get there than the standard in-tree models of the T-34. The only real difference between this and a standard T-34 in the tech tree is that spaced armour, and it is a bit of a difference. There is 3 tons of it. That's right, the T-34E, instead of being the standard 26.5 tons of most of the T-34s, is actually up to 29.5. This is nearly a 30-ton tank. As a result, manoeuvrability does take a hit, and acceleration does as well. It is sluggish, it feels heavy. It is a pain in the ass to turn below 10 kilometers an hour. It does not want to rotate, and it cannot rotate on the spot. Trying to move it on a single track is almost impossible in most cases. You cannot drag it down hills once you've taken track damage. It will just rotate around one tread and stay where it is. So for all the weights it's added, is the spaced armour worth it? Well, yes, if you understand how it works. The hull armour is 45mm on the front, the same as every other T-34. It had no spaced armour or any additional armour added to the front of the T-34E. However, with the side plates on, the side armour is 60mm. The rear armour is also 40mm with its protection plate. This means you can bounce shots from more manoeuvrable but lower calibre armed tanks that are able to manoeuvre behind you, and they will manoeuvre behind you if they get close. You are not manoeuvrable enough to be able to prevent things like Panzer IICs, even some of the Panzer IIIs, from being able to get behind you, short of backing your ass up against a wall and leaving it there. The 60mm of side armour sounds pretty epic up until you realise that most tanks at this tier have over 80mm of penetration on their guns at short to medium ranges. You cannot present your sides to any tank that you're fighting. You must always angle. The spaced armour will help with that. If the shot does penetrate the spaced armour, it will go through and hit the secondary layer of armour or your primary armour layer, and it will bounce and ricochet off that. But you cannot present them your sides, they will just punch a hole straight through it. Second kill. And last but not least, we come to the 45mm of frontal armour. Now that received no additional armour protection, but it didn't really need it. It's only 45mm thick, but it's angled back at a 45-degree slope. It has very few weak spots on that front plate that you can aim for, and if you are angling the side armour, you're also angling the frontal armour on the tank, increasing its effective thickness to over 90mm. So there is no need to worry about the frontal armour. If you're angling your sides, they're not going to punch through your front. Now, the area you need to worry about if you're driving this tank, or the area you need to focus on when you're fighting this tank, is the turret. Now, the turret armour from the sides and rear is actually worse than trying to penetrate the hull. It's 60mm at the sides and 60mm at the rear, and if you look at the top of the turret here on this shot, the turret is actually angled differently to the spaced armoured panels on top of it. Just line up this shot. A little short. That's more like it. Third kill. Now, as I was saying, the spaced armoured panels around the outside of the turret and the actual turret armour underneath it are angled differently. What may appear when you are approaching one of these tanks to be a nice big flat panel that'll be easily penetrated perfectly side on to your shot might actually have a section of armour underneath it that's angled 45 degrees differently or 30 degrees differently to the panel you're aiming at. As a result, you will often get side shots come in on this turret and they'll just turn into ricochets every single time. Penetrating the sides and rear of this turret is extremely difficult. Now, In a few moments here you're going to see a Stug fire a HE shell, and he's just going to clip the weak point on the front of this tank. And this is the weakest point on the tank, the front of the turret. Single clip, daze the gunner, minor damage to the tank. It hasn't enough to take it out of combat effectiveness, just enough to shut it down for a few seconds. But that was a very, very minor blow. Now the turret cheek armour of this tank is actually very good. The panels to the left and right hand side of the gun mantlet, they're actually angled back at a 35-degree angle, but the turret armour underneath is angled at around 45 degrees back from the gun mantlet. This means any shot that manages to penetrate the already high-angled front cheek armour on the turret, as it penetrates that spaced armour, it's actually going to slam into a second layer of armour that's on an even more extreme angle. It's going to guarantee a bounce every single time. Now once you get from those turret cheek armour, you go into a small set of armoured panels that run to the left and right hand side up the long axes of the tank, or long axes of the turret, providing shield cover to the sides of the gun mantlet. Now these two armoured prongs that stick out the front of the tank actually do a really good job of it. They're only about 15mm thick. They're just there to try and deflect shots away from getting into the side angle and the elevation mechanism on the gun mantlet and doing damage, and they work very well. Hitting these will usually result in a ricochet into the main cheek armour, which, as I said, always results in a bounce. Now I just spotted a target on the map. It's moving to flank our capture point position at the moment. I'm the first and easiest one in position to go around and defend. It's actually up this road to the left, but as I'm making the turn, a wild Stug appears. So I angle myself to the Stug. One shot kills the transmission, destroys the engine, and it blows up, and then I go out. Now I understand my descriptions of the armour so far has probably made this tank sound like it's overpowered as fuck, as it's got massive amounts of armour all over it, but as I said, the second you present a target a flat angle, an unangled portion, and, well, this Panzer 4G just punched a shot straight through the side of the hull and straight into the ammo rack and blew the tank to pieces. And it's an important thing to remember when driving this tank. If you present them a flat angle, the hull is basically a rolling ammo rack. The second you give them a flat angle, they will penetrate, they will likely hit the ammo rack, and they will kill all your crew and possibly blow the turret off the top of your tank. If they don't hit the ammo racks, they're going to hit engines, fuel tanks, they're going to hit something in there that's going to be critical. I've never been penetrated from a flat angle shot before and not had critical damage done to at least one component of the tank. You have to angle this tank or you're going to lose it. But anyways, back to what I was saying before. The main weak spot to shoot at when you are facing this tank and it is hull down, angled and in full combat position. Straight into the gun mantlet. Now, this normally would be the last place you would ever shoot a tank. You know, they're normally big, thick, angled, angry places. You don't shoot the gun mantlets on tanks. They're the hardest point in the tank, except on this one. The gun mantlet has almost no angling on it. It has no spaced armour, and it's only 45mm thick. The only tank in the game that cannot reliably penetrate the T-34E's gun mantlet is the Panzer IIc, the German reserve tank with its 20mm autocannon. Every single tank from the Panzer 38T with its 37mm cannon and up will easily punch through the mantlet like it's made of soft butter. Now the second reason why you shoot from the mantlet in combat is, remember I mentioned those little armoured prongs sticking out of the front of the tank earlier on that deflect shots coming in from the side of the gun mantlet, and they do a really good job of that. The problem with them is shots coming directly from the front, shots that would have maybe just glanced the gun mantlet and then ricocheted away, will actually ricochet into these side panels and ricochet the shell back into the gun mantlet, guaranteeing a penetration. They actually act as a giant shot catch on the front of the tank. I've watched shells come in at an almost 45-degree angle before, hit one of those panels, ricochet back into the gun mantlet and penetrate. And the penetrations are always devastating. A direct hit to the gun mantlet on this tank with anything above a 37mm cannon will result in the gun being destroyed, the breech being destroyed, the gunner being killed, the commander being killed, the gun elevation mechanisms being destroyed, the turret rotation controls being destroyed, the ammo rack being cooked off, or all of these at exactly the same time. It is a huge soft weak point. When engaging targets in this tank after you fire your shot, you have to angle your turret. You cannot sit there and take hits to the front of the tank. It will get you killed. So the results for this match was 4 kills, 1 assist, 3rd place for the team, 1 death. I did let myself get exposed to that Panzer IV-G and it got a side shot, took me out. 25,080 Silver Lions, 8,872 mod research points, not that it matters, it's a premium tank, and 11,442 tank or vehicle research points on a premium account on a double. So into our next match we go. Now, how to drive this tank? Well, as we've discussed so far, it's an incredibly heavily armoured tank for its tier. But only if you angle it. If you give somebody a flat surface, they will penetrate you and likely one-shot kill you. The turret is even more incredibly armoured. It is amazingly good at bouncing shots from almost every angle except the one that's going to be presented to the enemy most commonly, directly in front, your gun mantlet. So after every shot you're going to need to angle the turret, as well as angling the hull in order to prevent penetrations. So how do you drive this thing? Well, it's a medium to long range sniper tank. I know all the armour, it sounds funny, but that's the most effective way I've found to drive this goddamn thing. The simple fact of the matter is that 3 tons of spaced armour that keeps it safe also reduces its speed and manoeuvrability by such a large amount that if you get this thing into short range engagements, you will just get outmanoeuvred by every single level of panzer on the enemy team, and they will just drive around your sides and shoot straight through, blow your ammo rack and kill you. Shermans in particular are a nightmare. They are more manoeuvrable than you and carry equal amounts of armour, and their gun can penetrate you even angled. You've got to be very careful on those things. The most effective usage I've had out of this tank, and I have tried driving it as an assault tank, I've tried driving it as an extreme long range sniper before, honestly is the mid-level. You can do long range shots if you need to, but mid-level shots is preferred. See a target to my left, immediately roll the tank into this drain depression on the right and hold down. That guy actually had a perfect side shot on me there for a few moments. I didn't want to present him with that. As I come up and crest the hill, I present him an angle. I'm probably not angled enough, or over-angled, I should say. Just checking out behind him, making sure nothing's there. Checking the target that was up behind me. It's an ally that was firing down on him. There we go. First kill. And as you can see, at medium range engagements, the gun on this is quite good. It penetrates and clearly can one-shot other tanks exceptionally well. It does start to lack a little bit at long to extreme range. The bullet drop-off or shell drop-off is pretty brutal, and the penetration values do tend to drop rapidly. Goddamn T-1000 AI, you can kill all its crew and blow off both of its tracks and the thing will still roll forward. So that's my second kill of the match. Cleaning up stupid AI. If somebody comes to your position at close range, you're almost guaranteed to be able to penetrate them and have yourself pre-angled and set up waiting for them. But if you're using this as an assault tank, moving into close range, it's not going to go well for you. Medium range shots works perfectly. Also, engaging targets from medium to long range reduces the penetration on their guns, third kill. Reduces the penetration on their guns and therefore increases the effectiveness of your armour, making you an absolute nightmare to kill out by distance. Now there's another enemy tank down there. He's hiding behind the corpse of the tank that I've just killed and just down and around the ridge. I haven't got a clean line of sight on him, but he just keeps popping up every now and again. And I'm not going to get an angle on him, so I'll just move around. I'm not going to go down the road to try and engage him here. I'll take this high angled road up into the hills, get an angle from above him so I can shoot down. There was also a red target spotted up here before, and I'd rather be up here and able to engage it as necessary than be down there with it above me. It's kind of funny to think in air forces, effective engagement of enemy aircraft often involves you getting to higher altitude first. Here in tanks, same thing. He who has the higher ground always has the shooting advantage. So just trying to get a little bit more angle down. The depression on this gun is not particularly great. You've got to use the terrain to try and be able to get you that extra amount of depression when shooting from high angles. Just do a test shot. I'm not even ballpark close. I'm going to have to drive down here a little. And more stupid AI just down the hill. So start eliminating them before they notice me. And now that's what I'm actually after. Don't give it anywhere enough lift for the shot. Tanks are in cover. Not that one though. And for those wondering, that was a Heitzer kill at about 800 to 900 meters. Put another shell over. No hit, but I don't really want to put too many more shells in that direction. We have an allied tank that is down in there. The last thing I want to do is put a 76mm shell straight through the side of an ally. I kind of need them alive. So begin my advancement. There's no point in me hanging back here now. The rest of the team's moved up. And have a look at this. Every AI for both teams has moved to one section of the map and is just sitting there shooting one another in the gun mantlets over and over and over again. Alright, I'll take a free kill. Execute the AI, and as soon as I do, the AI on our team will start moving out again. Just passing across the midfields here. We are definitely on the enemy side of the map now, moving past the pillbox. It's just out over the second ridge past their spawn. Just going down to make sure the capture point is completely secure. And this match is pretty much done. We've taken both capture points. There's not many enemy tanks left alive on the team. It's simply a matter of securing the area and making sure the match is over. So the results for this match: 4th place for the team, 2 player kills, 4 AI and 1 assist, 32,446 silver lions, 4,492 mod research points and 5,795 vehicle research points on a premium account, no double. Now, not a bad couple of battles, and not a bad machine at all. Providing you keep it angled to the target and you never present them your gun mantlet, except in the moments when you're firing a shot, this tank is exceptionally hard to kill. Just don't get too close to the enemy, as they will outmaneuver you. Now, this tank comes in a pack. It costs around $25 AU. Convert that to your own currency as needed. It comes with a month's worth of premium and 2,000 golden eagles to go with the tank. I used 1,000 of mine to purchase a premium tank for the German side, the Spaced Armor Panzer III. So I have both the equivalent Battle Rating 3 Era 2 premium tanks for both nations. Is it worth it? It depends on whether or not you like Russian tanks. Personally, I quite enjoy this tank. It suits my style very well. I'm not a big brawler. I like to engage from medium to long range, and this is a tank that has the armor to allow me to deflect shots coming at me from that sort of a range all day long, while giving me the firepower to be able to deliver accurate shots to targets at that sort of a range as well. It's ideal for my style of play. Yours may differ. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Drive smart, drive safe, and I'll catch you on the battlefield.